Right now at 5, tax considerations in the EPA factor into a proposed land development project in Joplin.
And after another night of thunderstorms across the area, today looking considerably better. We'll have a look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, family and friends pay their final respects to a missionary couple from Neosho killed in Haiti.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Chris Warner. So we had some thunderstorms last night. We had some strong to severe thunderstorms last night.
Very loud.
It was very loud. Woke me up, but I was able to go back to sleep. And again, thankfully, no tornadoes, nothing intense like we've seen with the last few rounds of severe weather. And that's going to be it for at least a few days out there. We're going to start to clear out effective immediately. So let's start with a look outside from our camera on top of the Cordell Complex, downtown Joplin. We've still got some clouds out there. We're going to start the day mostly cloudy, but you can see a little daylight sneaking in, and that is because skies will eventually clear. MoDOT camera 32nd in range line. Roadways are actually still a bit on the wet side out there, and there has been some flash flooding that's taken place, so those waters gradually receding, but do be aware of that as you begin your commute this morning. The future track, there is nothing to show on it as we head into the afternoon and into the early evening hours out there other than a light north breeze and temperatures right about average, just a wee bit above as we go into the low 80s out there. Temperatures right now, not bad. Here's that frontal boundary, and it's brought in some northerly winds, but as you can see ahead of and behind the boundary, not anything significant in temperature-wise. No major changes out there. We're in the mid to upper 60s as we get the day underway. We're going to warm up. We're going to be, again, similar to the last couple of days. We're looking at upper 70s, low 80s, and we're starting the day mostly cloudy, and then we'll eventually see that gradual clearing as we head into the afternoon and evening hours out there before we start to go mostly clear. And we'll have a light north breeze at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. The dry weather will stick around for a while, but then there's some additional changes in our forecast. And, I mean, would we have it any other way here in the 4 states? We'll take a full look at all those details for you coming up here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, thanks, Chris. The Carthage Police is asking for your help in locating a missing juvenile. 17-year-old Jocelyn LaRue went missing yesterday. She was last seen leaving her home in Carthage in a silver Nissan Altima with license plates VJ0S6G. The vehicle has been reported stolen, and her direction of travel and destination are unknown at this time, but she's known to visit the Joplin and Webb City areas. LaRue is 5 feet and approximately 110 pounds. She has blonde hair and blue eyes, and if you have any information regarding her whereabouts, you are asked to please call the Carthage Police Department. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Family and friends paid their final respects to Davy and Natalie Lloyd yesterday in Neosho, Missouri. The pair had worked as missionaries for just over a year, serving for the group Missions in Haiti. Less than 2 weeks ago, gang violence in Haiti took the life of the young couple. The Lloyds were laid to rest yesterday at the Bible Holiness Assembly Church, the same church they were married in. Natalie Elizabeth Lloyd is the daughter of Missouri Representative Ben Baker. All people who want to express opinions concerning a US 69 study in Crawford County should submit them soon. KDOT reminds the public they have just under 2 weeks to participate in an online study survey on the topic. The project is a corridor study to evaluate the current and future needs of the highway. KDOT also has conducted some public hearings to discuss the highway proposal. The department is asking residents what they see as an issue or non-issue. You can participate in the online survey until June 17th and just go to KOAMnewsnow.com. No specific dates have been announced for study completion. The Missouri Coalition for Roadway Safety announces nominations for Highway Safety and Traffic Awards. The nominations are open to individuals, organizations, and events to be recognized for efforts in making Missouri's roads safer with the ultimate goal of zero fatalities in the Show Me state. We've provided a link on our website for a complete list of categories and more information. Winners will be recognized at the Missouri Show Me Zero Conference in Columbia at the end of September. The Joplin City Council approves the first readings of a proposed multi-use complex, but as KOAM's Amber Jenkins shows us, there's still questions to be answered about the project.
Prospect Village is a $375 million complex proposal with plans for housing, indoor arenas, and a grocery store located east of Rangeline Road and south of 20th Street in Joplin. The City Council approved a development agreement with Wusana Real Estate during the first reading. 2 more proposal council readings concerning tax increment financing are planned before the project moves on to the next step.
To gain final approval, a TIF plan will need to be developed and presented to the TIF Commission, which is an opportunity for the public to hear at a public hearing the details of the development plan.
The project developer, Wusana Real Estate, is already working on projects in Joplin like 32nd Place. Edwards say funding from the private sector will assist with tax increment financing.
There are a number of incentives, public incentives, that are being considered. 2 of them would be CID, so 2 CIDs, which is an additional sales tax increment to help fund infrastructure within the development. And the third incentive is TIF, which is tax increment financing. It's not a tax abatement, nor is it a tax increase, but it does help finance a project of this magnitude.
City officials say the proposed project site needs to be developed because of possible contamination. They say part of their due diligence is making sure the site meets environmental standards.
Extremely challenging piece of property to develop. The EPA has had that property under monitoring, and there's a need for remediation there to make the site safe. The developer's committed to having a safe development, and we'll have to work closely with the EPA to make sure that all those standards are satisfied.
This takes a lifeless piece of property and turns it into something that benefits the whole community, brings in outsiders, that fills up our hotels, fills up our restaurants, and that generates a lot of extra sales tax for the city.
The Joplin Area Chamber of Commerce, along with others in the community, are expecting more information at future City Council meetings.
There's a lot of questions that remain to be answered. Number one, how big is the sports complex going to be? How much utilization will the average public be able to just go in and for example, will there be a walking trail inside?
Reporting in Joplin, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
A second reading of the TIF will happen at the next City Council meeting on June 17th. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes coming up on the KOAM Morning News. 12 local high school softball players receive All-State honors. We'll have the details. Plus, a UK politician gets shaken up after being doused with a milkshake as he kicked off his campaign. And we have a warm and sunny day today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
The Kansas Softball Coaches Association releases its 2024 All-State selections yesterday. Several athletes from the 4 states make the list. Starting in Class 3A, the All-State teams are loaded with players from Frontenac and Columbus. Avery Johnson is a unanimous selection to the first team as a pitcher, as is her teammate Abby Beeman. Annie Lee from Frontenac, also a first-team infielder, as is Gracie Major from Columbus, and her teammate Katie Simpson is a unanimous first-team outfielder. Maddie Call and Tinley Sullivan from Frontenac are both on the second team, and Haley Ediger from Columbus receives honorable mention All-State honors. In Class 4A, 3 local players receive All-State honors. Abby Gorman from Fort Scott is on the first team All-State as an outfielder. Labette County teammates Riley Bebb and Caton O'Brien are on the 4A second team. And then in Class 5A, Callie Terry from Pittsburgh receives second team All-State honors as an outfielder. Late Monday night, the Central Ozark Conference releases its 2024 Baseball All-League selections. Webb City has both the player and coach of the year. Webb City senior and future Missouri Southern Lion Drew Vonderhaar is the COC Player of the Year. 3 of his Cardinal teammates join him on the first team All-Conference. Pitcher Luke Beverlin, infielder Sean Hunt, and outfielder Andrew Young. Brody Pamp from Carl Junction makes the first team All-COC as a utility player, and Webb City head coach Andrew Denning is the co-coach of the year, sharing the award with Kirk Harriman from Branson. The second team All-COC features 5 local players from 4 different schools. Carthage pitcher Landon Bland, Webb City pitcher Landon Fletcher, and Joplin pitcher Brecken Green. Then the Osho's Kenton Smith makes it as a catcher, as does Mason Williams from Webb City. Switching gears to collegiate summer baseball, the Nevada Griffins play another doubleheader last night in Iowa. They lose game 1, 4-0 to Warren County. Nevada was winning 2-0 in the 3rd inning of the game when play got suspended due to rain, so that result is not final. Women's College World Series, Oklahoma playing Florida for the 2nd day in a row. Trip to the national championship on the line. Sooners tie the game at 2 in the bottom of the 1st. At the top of the 2nd, Florida answers right back. Ariel Kowalski puts the Gators up 4-2 with the home run fest continuing into the 3rd. Reagan Walsh makes it a 5-2 Florida lead, but the 3-time defending national champs won't go away that easy. They go to the bottom of the 4th, and Sydney Sanders is going to hit a 2-run homer to dead center, and that makes it a 1-run game. So we go to extra innings, tie game 5-5. Jada Coleman is going to hit it to deep left, and that ball is going to be out of there. A walk-off home run sends the Sooners back to the College World Series Finals as they look for their 4th consecutive national title. Well, still to come, a new study says 61% of U.S. adults will have cardiovascular disease in the next 2 decades. Plus, got another check of that considerably calmer forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It is 5:17 now on this Wednesday morning, halfway through the work week, and we are done with severe weather and rain in general, at least for a few days out there. Live look from our camera on the Cornell Complex downtown Joplin. We're getting some daylight, but as you can see, we're still holding on to mostly cloudy skies out there. MoDOT camera 32nd in range line. If you look close enough, roadways are still wet here and there, and there were some flash flooding concerns, so just be aware of that. A lot of those waters are beginning to recede in those flash flooding areas, but nonetheless, you want to watch out for some of those bigger puddles. MoDOT camera, US 60, Missouri 59 in the Osho. Also still some wet roadways down there, and of course a cloudy start to the day. But as we head into the afternoon, skies will of course clear across the area, and we're going to start to look pretty good out there. Right now in Joplin, of course, it is mostly cloudy, 67, west-southwest breeze at 7, and temperatures around the region. You can see where that boundary is, that front that pushed through and brought us those storms last night. Not making that big of a difference in temperatures behind or ahead of it. So we've got mid-upper 60s across the area, and just about everybody's sitting into that comfortable range this morning. Not a bad start whatsoever. As we get the day underway, again, mostly cloudy initially. Clouds will start to gradually clear across the area and will be about 74 by 11. Now, once we start to get more sunshine, temperatures should warm up a little bit more. And again, we're looking at highs into the upper 70s and more low 80s expected out there today. And again, we'll start to go just straight up clear as we head later into the afternoon and into the evening hours, and that's how we will remain as we go through the night, down to 69 by 10 o'clock. Overnight lows a little cooler out there. Again, clear skies. We'll lose some of that heating, and we'll fall back into the low 60s, maybe in some upper 50s out there, so a bit below normal for us. However, rain chances will return as we head into Friday night. Now, the good news is most of our Friday looks great. It'll be later in the evening and late night hours on Friday that we've got scattered showers and thunderstorms, and they'll become a bit more widespread as we head into Saturday. And we'll continue to deal with those thunderstorms scattered throughout the day on our Saturday potentially, maybe even into our Sunday as well. So our weekend looking a little bit on the soggy side. But as we head later into Sunday and into Monday, we'll start to see some clearing again, and we'll get an opportunity to dry out. We got a few more storm chances possible for us on our Monday. So let's look at how all that looks. So again, mid 80s, even some mid to upper 80s by Friday and Saturday. Again, Friday, the majority of the day looks fantastic. It won't be until late at night. So if you've got plans Friday, as long as you're doing them before sunset, you should be just fine. Mid to upper 80s again on Saturday, and we'll have those thunderstorm chances Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Right now, Tuesday looking good, but there is something that says we may get some additional shower and thunderstorm activity on Tuesday, so we'll keep an eye on that for you. We're actually going to be a bit below normal Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. Warm back up to about normal as we close out next week. That's a check of your forecast. We're back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, teens who spend lots of time on social media have complained of feeling like they can't pay attention to more important things like homework or time with loved ones. That experience is reflected in the findings of a new study published Tuesday in the journal PLOS Mental Health. It found that in teens with internet addiction, signaling between brain regions is important for controlling attention and working memory was disrupted. The study was a review of 12 neuroimaging studies of a few hundred adolescents ages 10 to 19 between 2013 and 2022. The American Heart Association predicts about 61% of U.S. adults will have cardiovascular disease in the next 2 decades. The group released research Tuesday finding 45 million adults will have some form of cardiovascular disease or stroke by 2050. That's up from 28 million in 2020. Researchers say a big driver of this trend is the growing number of people likely to develop high blood pressure, which puts them more at risk for a heart attack or stroke. An aging population is also a factor. Heart disease is responsible for more than 800,000 deaths every year, making it the leading killer of Americans. A 74-year-old woman was in hospice care Monday when a doctor thought she died, but that was not the case. After the Nebraska Funeral Home found her alive, she was taken to a hospital where she did pass away. Veronica Barreto has the latest on the investigation.
Chief Deputy Ben Houchin says that she was in hospice and was expected to pass away. After she was pronounced dead at the nursing home, she was taken to Butheras Macer and Love Funeral Home. The funeral home did nothing wrong, according to Houchin. Houchin says employees at the funeral home are cooperating.
There's people that we need to contact that was involved into it through the mortuary, the funeral, or in the nursing home, the people who transported. So we need to continue to talk to people and continue in that. We have not been able to speak to everybody that we need to complete the investigation.
The funeral home shared a statement with me that says, in part, "We are proud that our directors and staff handled the recent incident in the news appropriately and with utmost care. Our prayers go out to the family. We thank Lincoln Fire and Rescue and the Lincoln Police Department for their quick response. We've reached out to the nursing home for comment but haven't received a response." LSO says an autopsy was scheduled for today.
We are going to want to see what the autopsy has to say and the final on that. So that's going to be the next big step.
Houchin says they will provide an update once the autopsy is complete.
Officials said the nursing home wasn't required to report her apparent death to the sheriff's office. That's because it was an expected death and a doctor signed the certificate. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we've got ourselves a nice day out there. A little bit cloudy to start, but skies will clear, temperatures will warm, and will be dry for the next few days. We'll have another look at your forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Right now at 5:30, a check presentation supports Joplin High School's science research program.
And considerably calmer conditions out there this morning. Still some wet roadways here and there. Talking about clearing out and warming up in that forecast to get you out the door coming up.
Plus, friends, families, neighbors, and coworkers join forces to help clean up a part of Joplin.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's just coming up on 5:30. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Chris Warner. So we had some strong to severe thunderstorms last night. And now we're going to be considerably calmer out there.
I'm so ready for it.
Oh, me too. You know, I did that first weathercast just a few minutes ago, and I actually had a lot of time left on our clock that tells me how much time I have.
Which is a big deal if you don't know.
It is. I usually fill all that time plus a few seconds, you know, especially over the last several weeks. But I was telling him, I said, boy, you know, this morning this is kind of a good thing. And I think some folks at home are ready to rest for a minute.
Oh, absolutely.
There's not a lot to talk about right now.
Right.
We don't have any severe weather to worry about. We don't have any heavy rains or anything like that for at least the next few days. So let's enjoy it while we can, and our producers will probably enjoy that as well without me continuously talking like I'm doing right now. So let's get straight to the forecast. Let's start with a look outside. This is the MoDOT camera, 32nd and Range Line in Joplin. That truck is parked directly over where there was a more visible wet spot. But if you look close enough, you can see still some wet marks. There he goes. See, there we are. Still some wet spots on the roadways out there, so do watch out. There was some flash flooding. A lot of those waters are going back down, especially in the urban areas, but you want to watch out for some of those deeper puddles that may still be around out there. Our camera on top of the Cornell Complex, downtown Joplin, also looking pretty good. Again, mostly cloudy skies to start, but we will start to clear out through the morning and into the afternoon. And as we head into the afternoon, the future track is clear. No clouds, no rain. It's going to be warm, a nice light north breeze at about 5 to 10 miles an hour out there. Here's that cold front that brought us to storms. No appreciable differences in temperatures. We're all in the mid to upper 60s. Chanute now as the warm spot at 70. And as we head into the afternoon, again, similar to the last few days temperature-wise, upper 70s, low 80s, but we're expecting a few more low 80s out there. Mostly cloudy to start, and then those skies will gradually clear, and we'll have sunny skies as we head into the afternoon and evening hours. We do have some rain chances on the way, but thankfully those are still a few days away. We'll have a complete look at your forecast here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, we'll see you soon. The Show Me State is looking for individuals and organizations that make significant efforts to care for trees in their communities. Nominations for the 2024 Missouri Arbor Award of Excellence are open now. We've provided a link on our website for more information, including prize description, and if you have a nomination in mind. Nominations are due by Monday, July 15th. A check presentation supports Joplin High School's science research program focusing on water quality. Missouri American Water gave $5,000 for the student-led research.
Where we need to start. This is where we get the future generations to come into researching water, understanding that it's important, understanding how to prevent pollution before it gets into our streams or into our aquifers. So this gets helps with the education of those needs.
The presentation is part of the American Water Charitable Foundation's Keep Communities Flowing grant program, focusing on 3 pillars of giving, water, people, and communities. The city of Joplin hosted a downtown clean team event yesterday evening. Folks with an hour to spare came out to the Joplin Avenue Coffee Company to help clean up around the area. The event, sponsored by the Downtown Joplin Alliance, encourages people to take pride in their city.
It's just a group of volunteers from our community, both from the downtown community and Joplin at large, that come downtown to different areas just to clean up our downtown area. We meet the first Tuesday and the third Saturday of the month, Tuesday in the evening and Saturday in the morning, again, just so that we can try and keep our city clean.
The clean team meets at different locations each time in order to stay on top of the entire district. The next scheduled date is August 6th. The Spiva Center for the Arts in Joplin will host Watercolor USA in 2025. The event and art exhibit will take place from August through October 2025 during the temporary closure of the Springfield Art Museum due to construction. If you can't wait until 2025, you should know the Springfield Art Museum's opening reception for the 63rd annual Watercolor USA is this Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. This year's free event features 80 works by 80 artists representing 31 states. 13 of this year's artists are from Missouri. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. President Biden issued an executive order to crack down on the number of migrants entering the U.S. illegally. Plus, over 1,000 farmers hold a demonstration north of Brussels. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Topping World Watch, after facing significant political pressure, President Biden issued an executive order to crack down on the number of migrants entering the U.S. illegally. Because migrant encounters are currently high, the border will likely shut down tonight under this new rule. Correspondent Rebecca Castor has the latest.
This was the U.S.-Mexico border near San Diego Monday night. More than 200 migrants from countries in Africa, Asia, and the Middle East looking for Border Patrol to start their asylum process, but not before taking selfies in front of the clearly unhindering border wall.
I've come here today to do what the Republicans in Congress refuse to do. Take the necessary steps to secure our border.
After months of calls to take action on the border, President Biden did just that Tuesday, signing off on an order that will temporarily shut down asylum requests if the average number of daily encounters tops 2,500, which is happening right now.
But if an individual chooses not to use our legal pathways, if they choose to come without permission and against the law, they'll be restricted from receiving asylum and staying in the United States.
I talked to President Trump this morning, and he says this is a scam and people will see through it.
Biden officials say the border will shut down at midnight, but critics are not convinced this action will help.
This plan does nothing to stop the asylum abuse, does nothing to stop the parole abuse that this administration has done.
This is too little, this is too late, and the American public knows it's too late.
Biden's executive order comes as polling shows voters think Donald Trump would handle the border better. But Democrats blame the former president for stopping Congress from passing new border policy earlier this year.
The president is left with little choice but to act on his own.
President Biden's executive order will likely face legal challenges. The ACLU has already announced it will be filing a lawsuit.
I'll move over former record holder. There is a new most expensive cow. Viatina 19 in Brazil holds the Guinness World Record after 33% of her steak, not that kind, was sold for more than $4 million. The prized cow is a specimen of a bespoke embryo grown in a surrogate. Viatina 19 is watched at all times by security cameras and armed bodyguards. The premium cattle's breeder is hopeful to spread her DNA to other markets around the world to create more cows like Viatina. A UK politician gets shaken up during a recent appearance. Populist Brexit backer Nigel Farage was doused with a milkshake as he kicked off his campaign in eastern England yesterday. He was hit with the frothy beverage as he left a pub where he had been speaking to the media. A 25-year-old woman was arrested on suspicion of assault in connection with the incident. Farage is making his 8th attempt to win a seat in the House of Commons. Over 1,000 farmers hold a demonstration north of Brussels yesterday, days before the European Parliament urges the European Union to back down on climate-friendly measures. Around 500 tractors were a part of the protest, one dairy farmer saying the climate measures are unbearable. Farmers are fighting against the Green Deal climate pact that limits measures, including forcing farmland to be kept as nature zones and limits the use of pesticides and manure. Around 20 tractors were allowed to demonstrate in front of the European Parliament. No clashes occurred during the rally, unlike similar demonstrations in Brussels that have occurred since the start of the year. Mounting pressure in Israel and around the world for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to support a ceasefire proposal put forward by the Biden administration last week. The deal could help bring home dozens of kidnapped hostages, including 8 Americans still held in Gaza. Correspondent Trey Yinks has the story.
I was there for 7 weeks and 2 days. and treated like I was dirt.
Emotional testimony from former American-Israeli hostage Aviva Siegel, the 63-year-old sharing what it was like to be held captive by Hamas after the deadly October 7th attack.
One of the days we starved for more than 20 hours. After 24 hours of not getting anything, they gave us a half of a pita.
Siegel shared her story during a roundtable meeting with lawmakers on Capitol Hill Tuesday. It brought together the families of 8 American hostages still held in Gaza. Many are rallying behind the latest ceasefire proposal announced by President Biden last week.
Probably the best last chance to get any of our loved ones home.
The meeting came just a day after 4 more hostages were declared dead by the Israeli military. Right now, Israeli officials believe about 80 kidnapped hostages are still alive. Hamas is believed to be holding the remains of 43 others.
It's time for a deal, a ceasefire, and to bring our hostages home.
Pressure is now mounting for Israel and Hamas to accept the terms and end nearly 8 months of conflict. According to the State Department, Israel is on board, even as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu faces criticism from within his own government.
The proposal on the table is nearly identical to what Hamas said it would accept just a few weeks ago. Israel has said it is ready to implement it. Now stands with Hamas.
Netanyahu has yet to publicly accept the deal and has said Israel remains committed to dismantling Hamas before any ceasefire is reached.
And that's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. This is a bit of a dreary look to start the day, but do not worry. It is going to turn nicer. By the way, it is 5:45 and about to be 5:46. Look at that. See, it's like magic. Also, there's a clock with the exact second on it right in front of me. So that's the magic, and that's the extent of it. It is cloudy out there. This is our camera on top of the Cornell Complex, downtown Joplin. A bit breezy, but these winds are going to ease up as we head through the morning. MoDOT camera 32nd in range line. If you look, you can see some of that shine. Still some wet spots here and there because we did get a fair amount of rain last night. And again, that did lead to some flash flooding. Most of that's gone down, but even on my way here through Joplin, actually, down by 10th and Main, those railroad tracks, not directly in the road, but there's a pretty good lake that had formed over there, so you got to watch out for some of the flash flooding or where there might still be some significant puddles. You don't want to hit one of those at full speed. MoDOT camera down in Neosho on 60, looking back to the west, looking pretty good as well, but again, roadway's still a bit on the wet side this morning. The future track stopping at noon, and I guess that's it. This is the last of the clouds rolling out of the area. We'll begin to clear out as we go through the morning. It'll seem slow at first, but once we hit the afternoon, these skies will clear out, the sun will come out, and it will be a relatively nice day. So again, cloudy skies in Joplin, 67, west breeze at about 8 out there. And as we look at temperatures around the region, this is one of those rare situations where you can see the front. There's the wind shift line. You can see the boundary, but there is virtually little to no difference in temperatures on either side of this. This front really just brought the storms and not any significant changes in our temperatures. We've got some mid-upper 60s all across the area, and Chanute is currently the warm spot, sitting at 70 degrees. As we get our morning underway, again, they will have those mostly cloudy skies. They will gradually clear, and we'll make it about 74 by 11. As we head into the afternoon, thanks to the sunshine, highs are similar to yesterday, upper 70s, low 80s, but we're going to see a lot more low 80s out there with that north wind around 5 to 10 miles an hour. Clear skies for the evening and overnight, 69 by 10, overnight lows, low 60s. Now again, once we lose the cloud cover, some of us might cool back into the upper 50s. That's going to feel somewhat chilly. We're going to be fine until about Friday night when we see now this updates. We see it update. Until we hit about Friday night, and that's where we're going to see scattered showers and thunderstorms start to roll in, and these are going to stick with us through at least Monday. And so the other concern is, see how this isn't really moving a lot? There are concerns, depending on how much rain we get, we could be dealing with some additional flooding concerns by this weekend. So again, great through Friday, all the way up until about 8, 9 o'clock Friday evening, and then thunderstorm chances build in Friday night. They'll continue to stick with us through Monday, and then we should start to clear out next week again. That's Check Your Forecast. We're back with more right after this.
A controversial actor makes an announcement in a documentary, sheds light on an artist whose work is better known than he is. Here's David Daniel with the Hollywood Minute.
Hi, I'm Ilaria Baldwin.
And I'm Alec Baldwin.
And we have an announcement to make.
Good God, no.
No, definitely not. We're done having kids.
7 kids, all under the age of 10, soon to be starring with their parents in a new reality show. Alec and Hilaria Baldwin made the announcement on Instagram. The series, tentatively titled The Baldwins, is set to debut next year on TLC. Of course, Alec Baldwin has another real-life drama. He's facing an involuntary manslaughter charge in the 2021 shooting death of Rust cinematographer Helena Hutchins. The trial is scheduled to start in July.
You'll see a Pepsi billboard, an Apple Watch face, but you don't know his name necessarily.
Jeff McFetridge, Drawing a Life, takes us inside the artist's mind, from his familiar designs for companies and movie title treatments for Spike Jonze and Sofia Coppola to what it takes to balance creativity and family. The documentary opens in select theaters June 21st and on VOD July 2nd. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
A monster truck rally mishap causes a commotion in the crowd. Patrick Cornell has that story, and take a look at this.
Scary moments at a monster truck rally in Maine when the vehicle hops too high, taking down electrical wires and power poles, sending spectators scrambling.
It was awful.
Kayla Wrench says she saw the cables crash down onto her husband and son.
And I could hear my son crying and I couldn't get to him. So it was like the worst feeling.
Ultimately, her husband Brian saved the day as their child escaped with just a little soreness. Police say several other people in the crowd suffered minor injuries, and Kayla believes it's incredible it wasn't worse.
It was a miracle. It really was.
How about the lighter side of heavy machinery? This one, hoisting alligators into the air. It's certainly one way to get her done. Animal control in the city of Mont Belvieu, Texas discovered the 12-foot-long brute lounging in a ditch. They needed some extra muscle to move the thing, so they decided to call in Public Works, who concocted the perfect plan. Using the loader of a grapple truck, they lifted up the gator and plopped it right into the back. Hey, if it works, it works. Check out this killer view of Kilauea. Hawaii's famous volcano started spewing lava, and the U.S. Geological Survey snagged this super-duper video showing the natural wonder. A fountain of lava is seen flowing out of a half-mile fissure inside Volcanoes National Park. Hey, here's your science for the day. Sulfur dioxide released from the crack in the earth mixes with the atmosphere, creating volcanic smog, known as VOG. As the event subsides, scientists will keep a close eye on Kilauea's VOG, as it can create health hazards for nearby people and animals. For Take a Look at This, I'm Patrick Cornell.
Stick around, we'll be right back. Well, IKEA is hiring workers for its new store in a video game. The company says it's launching a virtual universe in Roblox, which will feature the Coworkers game starting June 24th. IKEA is taking applications through June 16th for users to work in its virtual store and will pay its virtual employees between $14 to $16 an hour. Workers will help customers serve meatballs and even get promoted. Players who are interested in applying must be at least 18 years old and live in London. A lawmaker gets upstaged by his son on Capitol Hill. Republican Congressman John Rose was speaking on the House floor when his 6-year-old son, Guy, began smiling and making some funny faces at the camera. He stole his dad's thunder with his funny antics in full view of the camera. That distraction caught the eye of Rose's colleagues and others watching the live stream on Monday. After the incident, the Tennessee Republican tweeted, "This is what I get for telling my son Guy to smile at the camera for his little brother." The 3-year-old sibling was watching from their Tennessee home, and Guy, who recently graduated from kindergarten, will reportedly shadow his dad on Capitol Hill all week.
Thing happened to me. I had to bring he's now 7, but my 5-year-old here, I was filling in for Tanya, and as soon as he figured out he could see himself on all of these monitors, you could not keep him off camera. He came over when Michael Hayslip was doing the weather. He's hanging off the front of the desk, making faces at it the whole time. Anytime the camera zoomed in and he couldn't be seen anymore, he had the most disappointed look on his face. So I get it. Once kids realize they can see themselves, they're going to do everything they can to entertain themselves. They don't know they're on TV. They're just seeing themselves, you know? All right, here's what we're seeing today. Cloudy skies to start. They will eventually begin to gradually clear. We'll make it to 74 by 11 o'clock this morning. Highs similar to the last few days, upper 70s, but we're looking at a few more low 80s, and we'll start to go just plain old sunny by this afternoon. Holding on to clear skies through the evening, down to 69 by 10, and to the low 60s overnight tonight. And without that cloud cover, some of us might even make the upper 50s. So a bit of a chilly night out there. Nice conditions all the way through Friday, and then scattered storms Friday night continuing into Monday. That's Check Your Forecast. We're back with more right after this.